David, it's your father. Call me when you can. I wanted to talk about the laundry in the basement. Call me, okay?
Laundry in the basement?
8 or 8:30, whenever you can. Okay, bye. Love you,
bye.
bye.
Love you too.
Message interpreted by Sorensen, interpreted.
Oh boy, laundry in the basement. What could that have possibly been about? Anyway, I didn't get that call, so it went to voicemail. But you know what's not going to go to voicemail? Hal in Philly. Because he's going to sing us into the show, and we are all going for a drive.
9 o'clock, I'm bored to death. Smoke so much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the broody kind, but there's still one thing let's become alive. Yeah, I'm gone for a drive.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
All right. Thank you, Alex Exum, for that great intro for the last 4 years. ALEXEXUM.com. Hey, everybody. You ready to do the show? You want to dumb it down? Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, I want to dumb it down, too. I really do. I enjoy that. I enjoy dumbing it down. I enjoy dumbing it down in my car, my 2008 Kia Rio, as I go to and from work during my commute. That's what you're listening to. I'm in the car right now, getting on the thruway. Just went through the toll booth here in Saugerties, my hometown, my beautiful, sleepy, what do they call a bedroom community, I think. Yeah. There's no more manufacturing, so it's we have nothing left as far as manufacturing, I think, here in this town. So if there is something, I don't know. It's on the outskirts of town. It's like on the other side of the tracks, as they say. But anyway, if you're looking for a good place to come and go to sleep, hasn't really worked out for me, but it might work out better for you. So head on up or head on down or head on across the whatever to Saugerties and do an Airbnb, take in a hotel, go antique shopping, and come out and enjoy the upstate COVID. Anyway, it's a different COVID from downstate in the city. Downstate in the city, the COVID will kill you. Up here, it just makes you a little bit weary. Just a little something, and then it's over. Okay, that's not true. None of that is true, by the way. It's the same COVID as far as I know. All right, so let's get right to it. For those of you who are brand new to the show, Dumbing It Down with Dave is all about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. And I hit the button on my phone. I have an app from Spreaker, my host podcast platform, and I talk. And then about 30 minutes later, I hit the button and I stop talking, and then I publish it. It's really just what's on my mind. It's a stream of consciousness. Sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes I try too hard. Sometimes I don't try hard enough. That's not really true. I always try hard enough. But, it is whatever it is this show. People ask me, but I don't understand. What's the show about? Well, I try to get it down to pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Yeah, Dave, I know. That's the second time you said it. What does that mean? Well, I dumb it down. I whatever it is that we're talking about, I bring it down to human behavior. I try to ask why of the why of the why. So there you go. It's a little synopsis. If you're not clear about what I said, you don't understand it, well, then listen to the next 25 minutes, and maybe you'll understand. I'm more than happy to explain it even more. If you want, you can always call me at 3477-I-AM-DUMB. 3477-I-AM, the letter I, the letter M, D-U-M-B. There's also a numerical phone number that is not I Am Dumb, but it's still it's the same number. It's numbers. I don't have it memorized off the top of my head. I keep on saying I'm going to write it down on a card. This way I have it here in the car. But I don't want to say the wrong number and take a guess, and I'm not ready to look for it right now on my phone. So just know it's 3477-I-AM-DUMB. Stay tuned to the end of the show, or go into the show notes, and you'll probably see the numerical number that you can call if you want to leave a message or ask me a question. You can also tweet me at Done With Dave, D-U-M-B. Tweet me at Done With Dave. Email me at dumbingitdave at yahoo.com. Or, really, best case scenario that I would really appreciate, the easiest way for everybody, I think, is look me up on the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. The Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. What is it called, Dave? It's called the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. See, I dumbed it down for you. I made it so easy to find. Because there is a Dumbing It Down with Dave like page. I don't know what that's all about. I created it. I was told to. And now that I have it, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I don't understand it. It's crazy Facebook rules. Anyway, so there you go. Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. Very easy way to get in touch with me. I'm very good about responding. I like to engage with my listeners. I enjoy it. I've been doing some shows with listeners' comments. I'm a little bit behind on that. So I'm trying to catch up with that. The problem is some of these shows are so old already that I don't even remember what the shows were really specifically about. So it's a little frustrating. But I'm going to try to catch up, and then I'm going to try to stay on top of it. I really should do like a listeners' comments show like every week. And most of you really are good about responding within the first couple of days. A lot of you have really dropped off in the comment section, which is fine. You're allowed to, I know it's hard to keep up that energy by always listening and then always commenting. It's not hard for me. I do it with a lot of people. I do it all the time. But that's okay. It's not about how great I am and how not great you are. It's not about that at all. It's just about a different energy. That's all. And I do talk about energy in the show. I talk about energy a lot. Do I understand it? No. Am I an expert on it? No. I just talk about it because I believe in it. I believe in energy. Dave, what are you talking about? You mean like fossil fuels and solar power? Well, yes, I do believe in that. But no, I'm talking about the energy of your existence. It's a little cosmic, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't fully understand it. But oftentimes, when I do have a podcast, and I do start talking about it, I can talk about it in context, I think, and it makes it just a little bit easier for everybody. All right, so I think that explains the show. I thanked a whole bunch of people. Thank you, Hal in Philly, Hal Aaron Cohen, with that great song, Going for a Drive. I really appreciate him letting me play it. And if you want to hear the full version of that song, and there is a full version of that song, I would contact Hal in Philly. Contact him on Twitter, Hal in Philly. And Hal, if you're listening, send me some information if, in fact, there is that opportunity finally to purchase the song or download the song. It's a great song. It's a hit song. It should take Hal all the way to the rest of his life as far as a car commercial or something like that. Somebody should be buying that song. It's a great song. Hal in Philly, Hal Aaron Cohen, with the song Going for a Drive. So thank you to you guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. And also, you might have heard at the top of the show, you might have heard this.
David is your father.
Right?
David is your father.
Yeah, see, that's a woman's voice.
David is your father.
Yeah. Well, why would a woman call my phone and leave a message saying, David, this is your father? Well, because that's a voicemail left to my father, who happens to be deaf, and he calls me via a translator who, when I don't answer the phone, leaves a message. And it's oftentimes a woman. Most often, it's a woman, which is very interesting because it's a man, my father, doing the talking. He doesn't identify his voicemails as a woman. The voicemails itself identifies as a woman. He is definitely a man, my dad. And he leaves these messages, and I've been playing them because I want to share that experience with my audience. My audience that doesn't really know what it's like to grow up in a deaf household. Why would they? I don't have any deaf listeners, okay? And I also don't have... I'd like to be the first podcast that would grow a deaf listening audience. I really would. And also, I am technically, okay, a CODA, C-O-D-A, Children of Deaf Adults. I'm a child of deaf adults. My mom, who passed on April 18th, 2020, and my dad raised me. They didn't do a very good job of it. I'm sorry. They had their high moments. They had their low moments. But there was a lot of mediocre to very low moments as far as I'm concerned. And they kind of dropped the ball. Am I a little angry? Yes. I'm not going to deny that. Am I a little resentful? Yes. I'm not going to deny that. But I like to play those voicemails as, I don't know, like an educational, informative spot at the top of the show to share with my listeners, hey, this is what it's like when you're growing up in a deaf household. You end up getting these phone calls from your deaf parents via an interpreter. And my father is not a woman. So it's just interesting to hear a woman's voice. And also, some of the phone calls, you can tell the interpreting is not going very well. The interpreter is saying things that my father's not saying. And it goes on and on. I've had very interesting voices, and I'm really feeling bad these last couple of months that I started playing these voices of Harold, Harold being my father's name, that I didn't save them all. I mean, I've had hundreds of these because I very often don't get the call. And to be very honest with you, because I like being honest with you, right? Pragmatism, truth, happiness in the search for it all is the subtitle of the show. Fastest podcast on earth is also a subtitle because I'm in my car, in my Kia Rio, going up the throughway at the 110 mile marker right now, doing about 75 miles an hour. But sometimes I let it go too fast and I get to 80. I've never gotten a ticket or been pulled over during a podcast, but I know everybody's very hopeful that one day it will happen. The thing I was talking about was truth. So the truth is, sometimes I don't take the call. Just like a regular child, I don't want to talk to my parents. Sometimes it's just like, I can't deal with it right now. So they leave a voicemail, and that's what it sounds like. Okay, so the title of the show, by the way, episode 245, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in and staying with me these first 11 minutes of the show. I like to do a little preamble. I think it's called preamble. Got a little bit of an icebreaker, kind of update you on things. I'm always getting new listeners, and I'm always losing old listeners. It's funny to watch the old listeners disappear and watch the new listeners come in. But that's okay. That's the way podcasting, radio broadcasting works. You can't keep everybody all the time. I've only had one listener from day one. And thank you, Linda, for that. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to tune into Awesome Insanity Surfers if you're into science fiction and you like a little drama and you like a story. Awesome Insanity Surfers, you can find it, I think, almost anywhere there are podcasts. You can definitely find it for certain on Spreaker, Spreaker.com. Look for Awesome Insanity Surfers. Awesome Insanity. I need to slow it down, right? That's my Brooklyn. Awesome Insanity Surfers. Linda just came up with a new episode the other day, depending on what year you're listening to this and what time of the year and all that. But it's a new quest. It's called Crash Dystopia. Crash Dystopia, and it's a new quest. All right, and I like the story. I like it. I like the story. I'm not into sci-fi, but I like the story, and I like the way she does it. Okay, so you don't have to be into sci-fi. That's the point I think I was trying to make several episodes. But I just realized it now. This is the point I was trying to make, is that you don't have to be into sci-fi. There's drama there. And she's not going to string you along for an hour, for 26 episodes and then leave you hanging like Lost did a couple of years ago. It's gonna come to some sort of exciting conclusion. At least I'm very hopeful of that. And if not an exciting conclusion, a well thought out conclusion, because she has a good story. And I wish I could help her develop it, but I don't know how to do that. Anyway, I think it could be also a TV series if she really wanted to. If she really had the time and the energy and all that stuff, it'd be a good TV series. Okay, I think it's a little post-apocalyptic. If you want to know a little detail, I think the show is post-apocalyptic. I'm pretty sure it is. All right. I don't want to say it because I don't know if that's her intention, so I don't want to speak for her. I don't have any information in front of me, but it's just based on the last how many episodes I've listened to. All right, this episode 245 is called, as far as I know, it's going to be called My Month of Hell. My Month of Hell. I've been teasing this episode, and I waited 13 minutes into this episode to start talking about it. I don't know if that was a good idea, but I've done it before, and if I can't complete my thoughts, then I don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'm going to re-record this, or I'll just start another episode or do whatever. Okay, so I'm just getting out of a month of hell. I think it was not this morning. Well, by the way, it is, what is it? It is August 12th, by the way. It is August 12th. It's a Wednesday. I'm going in for overtime. I don't usually do a podcast or go into work on Wednesdays. Not usually. I mean, oftentimes I do overtime. It doesn't matter. I'm a truck driver. I work nights. I work 4 days a week, and my 5th day is an overtime day. So today is that overtime day. I do my show either going into work or coming home from work in my car because I don't have any other time at all. I just don't. I try to. I think about it. I work on it, But the truth is, I just don't have any other time. Recently, I've done some shows at like Sunday night, like really late, like 11 o'clock at night, or I'll go into Monday morning at 1 o'clock. I'll be sitting in my living room. The whole house will be asleep, and I'm in my living room doing a podcast. Not really a great idea for me. I like doing it while I'm driving. I like the activeness of being alert and driving and just having woken up, and on my way to work, which gives you one aspect of Dave Canyon. And then there are times where I'll do an episode mostly on a Saturday morning. And it's usually a very sunny, beautiful Saturday morning in New York. We don't really understand how that happens. But if the New York Tourism Bureau was listening to the show, they'd love it. Because about 99% of the time, I'm doing a podcast on my way home on a Saturday morning, exhausted after working 4 or 5 days in a row, 14 to 16-hour days of truck driving in the Northeast. And that gives you a different perspective. But yet, 99% of the time, it's a beautiful Saturday, sunny morning, which is odd. I haven't kept a count, but maybe one day I'll have an intern and I'll torture that person by making them listen to every show from day one and count how many days I talked about the weather and how beautiful it was. And it is a sunny day right now. It's a sunny afternoon. There are some clouds in the sky, but nothing threatening. We've really had a great summer. Other than this pandemic, it's really been a great summer. If we could be just pandemic free, if we could do that, I think life would really be great again. But it's still good as great for me. Yeah, let's make life great again. Mufla. Okay. Mulga. Let's make life great again. Okay, Mulga. That's my hat, Mulga. Okay. So my month of hell started July 13th. And it's a very serious thing. I know I've been quite light for the first 15 minutes of the show. But... and I'm saying the time over and over again because I want to make sure that I don't go over. I hate when I go over. Everybody hates when I go over. Nobody likes it. Everybody gets angry. Yeah, you went over. Screwed up the whole thing. Screwed up the internet. 30 minutes or less. All right, so this is very serious, folks, because I really had a month of hell, which ended 2 days ago. Today's the 12th, yesterday being the 11th. I think it ended on the 11th, officially ended on the 11th. And I needed confirmation that it was over, and it is, in fact, as far as I know, over. Although I still don't trust, but 99.9% sure it's over. All right. And any of my colleagues that are drivers at my company, I really would appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. In other words, don't talk to the management. Don't talk to dispatches. Don't talk to each other as far as I'm concerned. Stop talking about my show. At least this episode. I really appreciate if you can keep your mouth shut. Thank you. In other words, I'm going to reveal some information here, but there's no evidence of it, all right? That's the show you're about to get. Something happened on July 13th. Something almost horrible happened. Something almost the worst possible case scenario happened July 13th in the evening as I was driving a tractor trailer southbound on the New York State Thruway. And I got to tell you, as I do the show, and I didn't want to do the show, and I don't want to do the show, but I feel compelled because I've always been honest with you. Pragmatism, truth, happiness in the search for it all. And I have to share this with you. And it's much easier, of course, since there's no evidence of it, and there is no material evidence that can be found anywhere. And not that it can't be found, it doesn't exist. Only in my mind. Only in my mind does it exist right now. That is true. It's not a figment of my imagination. Something happened. Something horrible happened. No lives were lost. No injuries happened. But the thought that it possibly could have happened terrified me. It terrified me. It really rocked me. It shook me. It changed me. It elevated me. My game is elevated now. My whole life is elevated now. And I was so deeply embarrassed, so deeply ashamed, so deeply terrified of the circumstance. I don't even know what shows I've done. I don't have the time now since I've spoken so much about the first 15 minutes and I've done nothing. But I don't even know what shows I've done since July 13th. But I'll tell you this. I know that while I was doing the show, there was part of me that just wanted to burst out and tell you what was going on. But I couldn't. I couldn't because I just wanted I wanted there to be a conclusion. It doesn't matter now. I could have done it and it would have been a cliffhanger. Where is that show going to end? What's going to happen? What will be the conclusion? And I just wasn't thinking. I don't know. I didn't have anybody to bounce it off of. And I think ultimately I still would have decided to wait until it's over, because I didn't want one of these blabbermouth truck drivers who I work with to go to management and say, hey man, you got to listen to this. This guy's confessing to something. And by the way, let me just put out a disclaimer. This show is theater of the mind. For those of you who are not regular listeners to the show, for those of you who can't wait to go to management, can't wait to tell them, oh, Dave just confessed to something, you can go ahead. I can't stop you. You're a moron. You're a small-minded a-hole. But it's theater of the mind. I can say anything I want on the show. I can create anything I want. So there is no evidence, exculpatory or otherwise. I don't even know what that word means. I've just heard it on the news. There is no evidence. I confirmed that. So here we go. And for those of you who are regular listeners and have been listening to me for a long time, some of you for 245 episodes, some of you for 50 or 100 episodes, some of you have known me and have not supported the show. And I appreciate you tuning in. Some of you have tuned in from nowhere. This show is legitimate. I don't make stuff up. I've never made stuff up. If I make stuff up, you know about it, and I admit to it. And I share with you but I don't make up serious stuff. This is serious because I had a month of hell. And to be more technical, I had really 2 weeks of extreme hell. It was extreme hell to the point where I was talking to God. I was talking to God or the powers that be, and I was begging for mercy. I was begging for mercy. I was in my car begging for mercy, talking out loud in my truck, in my daily walk, before I go to bed, when I woke up, in the shower, begging for the Lord's mercy, begging for the powers that be, because I talk to both. When I really need to, I talk to both. Because as some of you know, I'm not a religious person. I don't pray. I don't go to church. I don't go to temple. I try to live a Christian life. I try to do the best I can. Am I a sinner? I've sinned. Am I a liar or a thief or whatever, all these things, you know what, or a racist or prejudiced or biased, whatever. You know what? I'm a little bit of everything, just enough to check off that box. And if you haven't listened to the show, you know what that means. In other words, I'm not pure. So when people ask me, why do you say you're racist enough? Why do you say you're whatever enough? Because I don't think I'm pure. And I'm not going to go on the show and say, oh, I'm not any of it. Yeah, you know what? I probably am, and just enough to check off the box. So this way, I'm not putting up a false front. That's what I'm concerned about, putting up a false front. So for those of you who have been listening and are invested in the show, my life or whatever, oh, this is a true story. For those of you who just can't wait to take me down, can't wait to rise yourself up by talking to management, God bless you. Let the Lord be with you for the rest of your life. Do what you got to do. If you feel good about it and you really dislike me that much, go for it. But this is theater of the mind, and you have no evidence whatsoever. It's a story, you dope. All right, anyway. So, July 13th, I'm southbound of the New York State Thruway. And I'm just going to be very honest with you. Well, first of all, it was dark, and it was nighttime. It was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30. It was a very, very easy route. In other words, I wasn't concerned about the time. It wasn't against me. Sometimes I'm really focused. I got two hands on the wheel, one hand on the stick shift, one hand on the wheel, and I'm really focused. But I got to get it done. I got to make certain deliveries, and there's no appointments. It's just I want to get through. I want to get done, and then relax when I put my set together, because I drive doubles. Put my set together in the compound, the tandem area, the tandem trailer area down in Suffolk, New York, and I can exhale and then head home. Listen to a couple of podcasts, some classical music or whatever. But in this particular case, I was relaxed. In fact, I was a little bit too relaxed. And I'm only going to get so specific because I still am concerned about my employment. Let me just say this. I was not paying attention. I was not nearly as focused as I should have been. That's all I'm going to say. What was I doing? It doesn't matter. I wasn't as focused on the road as I should have been. Okay? And then, so I'm going to shorten the story a little bit because I see I only have 5.5 minutes left, which is really 5 minutes. I ended up drifting over the white line, which is to my right on the passenger side. I hit the rumble strips. And by the time I had looked up, I was, I don't know, a foot, several feet from the guardrail, which is not a good thing. I looked up and I jerked the wheel. I jerked the wheel so hard that the camera, as some of you know, there's a camera in the truck. The camera started to blink. Red, green, red, green. So let me quickly explain the camera because I'm running out of time. We have these drive cams in the trucks. They're there to monitor you. They're not on all the time. They're on, but they're not recording all the time. They're only recording when they're triggered. When they're triggered by a bump, by an event, some sort of event. And jerking the wheel as hard as I did triggered the camera. Red, green. There's a light. It stays green until you make it red. And when it's deciding what it wants to do, you know, the criteria that's built into the drive cam, it'll go green, red, back and forth. Kind of like a roulette table. This is how I equate it. When it's like, where's the ball going to land? Red, black, odd, even, whatever. I don't know much about roulette tables, but I just know that there's red and black. And that's what happened. Green, red. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the camera, I said, please be green. Like immediately I go into mercy mode. Please be green. But here's the problem that I forgot to mention. When I had left Albany, basically where I start my day, the camera was already red. It was previously red, and I didn't reset the camera, which is you're able to do. I almost always, 99.9999% of the time, there's a button you press and it resets the camera, and it goes to green. By the way, I have a vibration in my car. It's very odd. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm not very happy with the way this car's riding. There's a vibration, which is odd. So anyway, I'm going to have to take this to the shop, but it feels like it's getting worse. Anyway, so that's a distraction. Wow, it's so funny. You know, I'm definitely like getting terrified that this car is going to fall apart. My 2008 Kia Rio while I'm trying to do one of the most important podcasts I've ever done. So let me see if I can get this thing done. So the camera was already red. So basically, even though it was going green, red, it ended up on red no matter what. It never goes back to green unless you reset it. Anyway, by the way, I just got out of the car. I pulled it over, just got out of the car, inspected the 4 tires. I don't see anything, so I don't know why it was vibrating. I think it has to do with the speed I'm at, so I'm going to slow it down, and hopefully the vibration will stop. That's the really first time I've had a mechanical issue while I'm in the car. All right, so it was already red. The light was already red, so I had no idea if the light was going to go to green, and that really is part of the story, is that I didn't know. I didn't know if the camera recorded the event. The camera, if this is in fact the true story for those of you that want to take me down and talk to management, I didn't know if it recorded me not paying attention, being involved in whatever I was involved with, drifting over the white line, almost hitting the guardrail, a couple feet away, jerking the wheel, straightening up the truck, getting back on the road, no harm, no foul, except for what I put into my head. All right? What I put into my head was really bad stuff because I know what could have happened. I know once you drift over that white line, that's bad news. You're in trouble. You're really, really, that's bad. And we've had drivers that have, at this company, we've had at least a driver, and I know over the course of time, when you're on the other side of that white line as a driver, that's bad. Because that other side of the white line is supposed to be, you know, that's not the road. That's where you pull over like I just did to repair this car. Well, I didn't repair it, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to talk about it, I guess, in the next episode. Although I could do an hour show. I'm allowed to do an hour show, but I don't think this show is 1 hour worthy. But anyway, I got to end it so because I know I talked too much and I didn't get to the full story. But the camera, eventually, I found out the other day that it did go green. because they have no evidence of it. It didn't come across in a report. So my employment is safe. But I will talk about it in part 2. I promise you that. I gotta really learn how to do bullet points, don't I? I kind of messed the show up a little bit, but you got a little bit of a teaser. Thank you, Hal. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed, and great skills. Take care. Great skills. Take care. Goodbye, all. Thank you.